Welcome, everybody. We're going to cover Adventures in Spa with AEM 6.5. I'm Amanda Gray. I'm a Senior Project Manager at 3Share. This is Upen. He's a technical architect at 3Share. We're going to walk you through our project where we implemented SPA in AEM 6.5. We actually started with 6.4 and had to do an upgrade kind of in the middle of our project. Upen will tell you a little bit more about that. So let's jump in. I will say, when they told me I was joining a spa project, single page application was not the first thing that came to my mind. So bear with me. All right, we're going to jump into the project background because I need you to understand what our client, what was wrong, what was not working for them currently, and what they needed. So our client had two separate portals. One was customer and technician facing. The other one was sales and support. Super dated. I'm saying like take it back to like late 90s, early 2000s. I put that Yahoo example there because it's really close to what it looked like, except for this has more visual hierarchy. It's true. Yes. So aside from dated design, they had no visual hierarchy, as I just stated. They also had no information architecture. So it was, each portal was seriously just links on links on links on links. So they had issues with their technicians being able to go in and find the documents that they needed when they would go on site to service a device. They couldn't find it. It wasn't easy. They're obviously usability was not great. The other issue that they had the other issues that they were facing is because they had two separate portals, they had a document repository that they were pulling some of the documents from. Other documents were natively authored in each portal. They would have duplicates, there was weird redundancies, weird documents would get out of sync. So they needed somewhere that they could house these documents in one place, or at least get them into one site. So for them, one portal is what they needed. Another issue that they had was 60% of their labs do not have an internet connection. Huge problem when a technician goes in needing a document to service this device. They can't access it. There's no internet connection. There's no cell phone connection. So they needed an offline mode. Which you'll talk about later. Yes. Another issue that they had is due to the nature of what they do, most of their information is classified and it's only available to certain users. They had issues with this because they had two separate portals. There's no information architecture, so there was really no way for them to assign those permissions properly. And they ran into compliance issues and things like that. So that was one of the things that we were brought in to do. So how did we do it? One of the first things was to use an SPA to display their product family lines and their product documents. The other thing, and probably one of the biggest deviations from what we normally do with AEM, was we used a tag structure instead of a page structure for our information architecture to get everything organized and develop that structure for them, because SPA is a single page application. You can't do multiple pages with it. That's right. To have the architecture that you need. So we implemented a tag structure to get their content organized. We also created an entitlements management screen, which you'll see a little bit later, for inside the AEM author, where they could give these permissions, these strict permissions. And because we had implemented this tag structure, it was very easy for them to give the permissions based on the tags and the different, you'll see kind of the lineage of it. So then jumping into our project implementation, some of the challenges that we faced during the implementation, we had SPA issues in 6.4. So that's what we originally started with on this project. We started with AEM 6.4, ran into issues, which Upen will go in. Yeah. And we had to do an upgrade in the middle of development to 6.5. We also had Okta limitations within our Cordova integration. So we were using Cordova for the mobile application, and they needed single sign-on. Yes. both on the author and the publisher, yeah. And then we also had SPA limitations with our Cordova integration. So we faced several challenges, but happy to say we're overcoming them.
Yes, we have. I will get into that details.
All right. I'm going to let Upen take over.
Thank you so much, Amanda. That was great introduction. Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Upen, as you know. So let me get into the details of what Amanda has just given you the overview. So starting from the unique features and customizations which we did in this project. So the first one, so I'll just list it out. I mean, the first one is the entitlements management, like you said, like because of things have been handled with the tags, so we couldn't really take advantage of the permissioning systems like you usually do in AEM. So that's why we had to come up with this entitlement feature that where you could, we have to develop that UI that the customer can use to provide the permissioning features that they wanted. That is the kind of the reason why. I'll get into the details with the screens in the future slides. And then the offline mode, like she said, one of the issues is that they couldn't get the documents that they wanted at the site. So that's why the offline mode came in, so that they could use the mobile device to download their documents when they are in online, so that when they go to that customer location, they can just pull it up and see it. So that was one of the very important features that they were looking for, and we implemented that. So I'll get into the details on that a little bit later. And then the metadata export. So it's like certain types of, they had like various different types of content types. So certain content types, they wanted to have the metadata part of the document. Same thing again, like an offline mode. You can really access the metadata even though you have the app. In online mode, yes, there is a way to see all the metadata for any document, but you can't see that if you're in offline. So they wanted that to be part of the document, so we created that facility for that, so that could happen using PDF export and whatnot. And then the workflow declaration, so that is something that for auditing purposes, anytime they have any documents that is getting published, they wanted to have certain information getting back to their upstream system, so we implemented some customization around that activation workflow. And then the Okta integration using to the publish. So you can use Okta to integrate, but the thing is that we are doing through SPA, so we wanted to have some other like extra, more than just what AEM offers. So we used OADC to do it using Angular. So I'll get into the details also. So these are the things that are major points that I want to highlight, we want to highlight in this implementation. Let's get into details. So upgrading, yeah, like she said, when we started like mid-development, it was kind of a surprise for us that we had to go, because we did have some of the features, some of the issues and then we had to talk with Adobe and find out that it was necessary or mandatory that we had to do it, and the customer is in line with doing it because it is their first implementation, so we didn't have any risk. There was risk about regression testing and whatnot, but then they are aware of it and they are ready to do it, so we were able to do it. This is just a model of how the SPA editor works in AEM. It is the difference between the normal AEM project and how SPA works. Basically, in a regular AEM project, you would have like a page loaded in the so the difference between them is that things happen at editor level. That the architect that we use, which is provided by Adobe, provides that editor also. So the difference is simple. Like in a regular author, you would basically load the content using the templates and components. But in SPA, we have a page model, so it doesn't really load the content into our DOM. It uses the JSON to deal with the page model and whatnot. So this diagram just basically shows between how this is different from a regular AEM project. Okay, the difficulties, like I said before. So this is just the 3 difficulties that we had with 6.4.3, which is what we started with. So SPA basically works only with the editable templates. You can use the regular templates that you would use in an AEM project. So the editable templates had some issues with the responsive grid. Basically, our project was supposed to be supported in mobile also, and that was one of the key factors. But then the issues were like when we were using the responsive grid, they were not working fine in the mobile, and that was something that a major risk that we had faced. And then the second one is whenever they were in the edit mode, when you open the page in edit mode, switching between that edit and review was not perfect in a SPA. So that was one of the things that authors would definitely have issues with, and that is also pointed out. And the third one is basically everything is a single page, so you can have multiple pages, but you're not gonna like reload every time. Or if you navigate between pages, it's not gonna reload. So what happened is that the title was not getting updated. So these are the issues that we faced. And then we had a call with Adobe back and forth, and we explained it. And their answer for everything was that it is known in 6.4.3, and the solution is go to 6.5. So when we did the 6.5 initially at the development environment, and we were able to see that they changed the responsive grid, and it works as it's supposed to be. So you you design the page in an editor mode for desktop and mobile, and it works perfectly fine. So 6.5 was, I have to say, it's much better than 6.4.3 with a SPA. And one of the major features that 6.5 offers is SPA, so as you know. And then the edit mode, preview mode, yeah, there were no issues with that as well. They fixed it. And the third one, they didn't really fix it yet. It's still there. But we took our help from the great Angular guy. So he was able to add some interceptors to achieve that part also. So we were successfully able to do that, even though 6.5 didn't really help. But that was communicated to Adobe. Hopefully in 6.6, they will probably fix it. And, okay. Getting into the details of the other things that I talked about. So the entitlement management, basically, this is just for the authoring because this is more like a permissioning system, but we had to develop for AEM, for the customer. So what we did is basically, here we didn't really need the SPA because it is only in the author because they just needed the UI and they didn't want it in the publish anyway. So we used just a non-SPA blank template and a Sling-based component. Other components that we developed were not Sling because of SPA. We have created using an Angular instead of React, because the customer felt comfortable with the Angular because they have Angular knowledge and experience within the company. So, and then, so we used the tags. They were, like she said, tags were much more easier way to approach their content. And at the same time, we could develop a component that can handle the tags to do the navigation. So that was the reasoning why we did that. I'll show some screen after that so that it will make more sense. And this link component, what it is, nothing is stored in AEM because this component was basically, it's dealing with the different partners that the customer has. So you can assign those permissioning or entitlements, if I will, to any of the partner. That means if you're part of a partner, that partner, you're going to get all those entitlements. So you will only see certain tags or anything that is tagged with that content. So nothing is stored in AEM. Everything is in another upstream system. They provided a REST services for those things. So our component, we are able to deal with just forgetting it or posting it. All those things happen. So nothing is stored in AEM, except the tags. That is the only thing that got stored in AEM. And author mode, so yeah, when you push the changes, it just posted back to them too. So to see some cool screens, this is what we have. So it basically provides a way to, you can see that it is in the author. You can see the edit and preview at the top. So we use some jQuery table to load that information, and then they provided the search and get API, so we implemented using a Sling component. And this is kind of like when you drill down into view edit, that's what you see. Here you can change. So you can see that here is similar to, they wanted to have like the tagging, how you manage the tagging in AEM author. So we kind of created that UI very similar to that so that they can choose. But we're not showing all the tags. We only showed certain tags that they were interested in. They can add or remove. You can drill down as into however long you want to. And you can change the contract type also. So these are the things that we pushed back So that from the published side, what we did the opposite. So when we do an authentication, you get that information, like which partner this user is. So that gives the information as what you want to show them and what you shouldn't want to. So that's kind of how it goes. Unfortunately, we don't have any screens that we can share on the published side, so
Sorry.
I'm going to have you imagine it.
Take our word for it. Okay?
Yes. Okay, so this one, the next one is the mobile app. This is one of the major features that we developed. I'm very proud of
Yes.
doing it. Okay, so the mobile was developed using the Cordova. So it was supporting both iOS and Android, even though most of the users are iOS, but they needed the Android also, so we did provide that support. So we used Puppeteer to crawl and create a content structure initially. There was a one risk that we had, like Puppeteer can basically just download the rendered HTML, but in this case we didn't, because SPA means everything is an iframe inside, so you need to make sure that you get the content. I mean, more of like a template, imagine, instead of just having the rendered content. So that was something cool we did. And then we took whatever the SPA created, the JS and the CSS files, and then we exported into the mobile app, and we built it. That's how we did it. And again, when you move something into Cordova, you basically get all the pages into this. But in this case, it's just SPA, so we didn't really have more content that goes into the mobile app. And also, all the DAM references are just referenced using external, directly to their publish. So what I mean to say is that you don't need to, if you create a new page or if you create, publish any content change, you don't need to create your mobile app again and publish it, because everything is remotely referenced from the Cordova. So that's something makes much more easier for them to manage. Just by AEM, you go ahead and create a page and update it and push the content out. It will be in your mobile app. You don't need to do a mobile app build also every single time you do that. So that's kind of nice about it. Having said that, we did have some challenges on that I want to share. We want to share. So SPA had some issues. That is something that we took it to Adobe itself. Explaining that it doesn't understand between a browser and a mobile app. And then we got a compliment saying that nobody has ever done SPA and Cordova together. We are the first one. So, and they learned from us. But they're going to fix it. But we had to intervene the page model to see how we can do it. So we had to extend theirs, and hopefully they'll fix it in the next version. And the second one is pretty much, that's an ability that Adobe already provided it. The custom, out of the box, you can use the model manager if you're just doing a desktop, but if you're doing it for mobile, then you have to extend it so that, and in our case, we need to be able to do online and offline also, so we had to extend it so that it works, it understands between, so what we did is basically we checked whether it is a Cordova or a desktop. At the same time, if it is internet is on or not. So those are the things that we implemented to make it sure where to load it from. And the third one is YADC, which is basically, that's another vendor JS, but still they didn't understand how to integrate, differentiate between desktop and mobile. So we had to extend that also to alleviate that problem. So the last one is the offline mode. So this is kind of a screen that we have. So basically you can log in and go to the online mode if you want. So that's the idea, you log in, you go there, and then whatever document that you're interested in, you can search and download it. And then you log out, and then you have that screen that has a View My Briefcase option. That's an offline mode. So even if you're not online, you click that, it will show documents. Either they can open it or remove it whenever they want it. So that kind of helps them to go to the customer side where they don't have to be in online to see the document.
Yeah, kind of think Netflix, you're not you're not gonna have an internet connection. You download your movie or your episode that you want to watch. You get to wherever you are, say an airplane where you don't have a connection. You go in, you can go into your Netflix app, and you can watch your episode. It's there for you. This is kind of the same concept. What we did was they would go in, essentially bookmark the document that they wanted. It would download into file storage on their phone.
Yes.
And then when they go, so imagine a technician. They know they're going to work on a particular device. They go and find the service document for it while they have an internet connection. They bookmark it, which downloads it to their device. They go to the lab that doesn't have an internet connection or cell service. They open their application, and the document is there where they can see it. So we really, 60% of their labs don't have an internet connection. We solved a huge problem for them with this. So.
That's, another thing is, we did have something like, we had to support iOS and Android also, so we had to put a more, not just implementing in Cordova, it's not enough, so we had to have a lot of customization that is done to understand whether or not it is iOS or Android, because because we are dealing with a file storage, their APIs are much more different from between iOS and Android. So we had the coolest UI guy who did most of the work. I'm so proud of, so, yeah.